Fake HOA fined me for donating supplies, didn't know I was helping a hospital. Have you ever been punished for doing the right thing? In the quiet cul-de-sac of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and pristine mailboxes define the neighborhood, one woman's act of kindness sparked a firestorm that exposed the ugly underbelly of unchecked power. Sarah Miller, a single mother and nurse, thought she was doing good by collecting medical supplies for a struggling local hospital. Little did she know, her generosity would land her in the crosshairs of Karen Whitaker, the self-appointed queen of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. It all started with a simple idea. Sarah, who worked grueling shifts at St. Mary's Hospital, saw firsthand how dire the supply shortage was during a brutal flu season. Masks, gloves, and bandages were running low, and the hospital's budget was stretched thin. Moved by the desperation of her colleagues and patients, Sarah posted a flyer on the community board, asking neighbors to donate and used medical supplies. "Every little bit helps," she wrote, her heart full of hope. Within days, her porch was overflowing with boxes of unopened masks, antiseptic wipes, and even surplus bandages from a neighbor's old first aid kit. Sarah was overwhelmed by the support, feeling the warmth of her community's compassion. But Karen Whitaker saw things differently. As HOA president, Karen ruled Willow Creek with an iron fist, her eagle eyes scanning for any violation of the community's rigid aesthetic standards. To her, Sarah's porch, cluttered with cardboard boxes, was an Isoria blight on the neighborhood's pristine image. Karen didn't care about the hospital's plight or the lives Sarah's donations might save. She saw only clutter and a chance to flex her authority. Without warning, Karen slapped Sarah with a $500 fine for unsightly storage and demanded the boxes be removed within 24 hours. A furious notice arrived in Sarah's mailbox, accusing her of disrupting the community's harmony. Stunned, Sarah tried to explain the donation's purpose, but Karen dismissed her, sneering, "Rules are rules. Take it up with the board." Sarah wasn't one to back down. She reached out to her neighbors, sharing the truth about the hospital's need and Karen's heartless fine. Whispers spread like wildfire, and soon, a quiet rebellion brewed in Willow Creek. Neighbors began leaving more supplies on Sarah's porch in defiance, stacking boxes of gauze and gloves with notes of support. One elderly resident, Mr. Jenkins, even dropped off a crate of surgical masks he'd stockpiled during the pandemic, muttering, "Karen's lost her damn mind." The community's solidarity was a beacon of hope, but it only fueled Karen's wrath. She doubled down, issuing a second fine of $1,000 and threatening legal action if Sarah didn't comply. The tension was palpable, like a storm cloud ready to burst. Then came the twist no one saw coming. At a heated HOA meeting, Sarah stood before the board, her voice steady but trembling with emotion. She presented a letter from St. Mary's Hospital, thanking her for the donations that had already saved lives in the overcrowded ER. The room fell silent as she read aloud the stories of patients: a child with a severe infection, an elderly man struggling to breathe who benefited from the supplies. But the real bombshell dropped when a soft-spoken woman in the back stood up. It was Dr. Emily Chen, the hospital's chief of staff, who lived in Willow Creek but had stayed quiet about her role to avoid HOA drama. "I approved Sarah's drive," Emily said, her voice cutting through the tension. "These supplies are keeping our ICU running. Karen, you're finding a hero." The crowd gasped, and Karen's face turned crimson, her authority crumbling under the weight of the truth. The confrontation that followed was nothing short of explosive. Karen, cornered and humiliated, lashed out, accusing Sarah of grandstanding and manipulating the community. She claimed the fines were about fairness, not cruelty, insisting that Sarah's messy porch could tank property values. But the neighbors weren't buying it. One by one, they stood up, sharing their own stories of Karen's petty tyranny, fining a veteran for a faded flag, threatening a family for a kid's chalk drawing on the sidewalk. The meeting turned into a reckoning, with Dr. Chun leading the charge. She revealed she'd been quietly documenting Karen's abuses of power, including questionable HOA fund transfers to a landscaping company owned by Karen's cousin. The room erupted in outrage, and calls for a vote to remove Karen as president echoed through the hall. Karen's empire began to collapse. Faced with a united front, she stormed out of the meeting, but not before tossing a box of donated supplies into a ditch outside Sarah's home, a final act of spite captured by a neighbor's doorbell camera. The video went viral in Willow Creek's online group, sparking a wave of disgust that reached beyond the neighborhood. Local news picked up the story, branding Karen the HOA tyrant and praising Sarah as a community hero. Under pressure, the HOA board reversed Sarah's fines and launched an audit of Karen's financial dealings. Evidence of her kickback scheme with the landscaping company surfaced, leading to her resignation and a pending investigation. Karen's name became synonymous with shame, her once pristine reputation as ruined as the supplies she'd thrown away. In the end, Sarah's porch became a symbol of hope, not clutter. The hospital received enough donations to weather the flu season, and Willow Creek's residents rallied to rewrite the HOA bylaws, ensuring no one could wield unchecked power again. Sarah, though exhausted, felt a quiet pride in her community's transformation. "I just wanted to help the hospital," she said, smiling at a thank you note from a patient's family. "I didn't expect to change the neighborhood." What would you do if you were fined for doing good? Was Sarah right to fight back? Or should she have complied with Karen's rules? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between following rules and standing up for what's right?